Meeting for Tuesday, March 10th, 2020. So we'll do a call to order. We have a quorum of 6, which is awesome. First item is consideration of minutes for previous meetings. I know we got them, I think, on Saturday.
I have one correction, and Mr. Ruggles and I were talking about procurement of the park benches, and we mentioned the beautification fund, but that's actually incorrect. The Friends of the Litchfield Beautification are going to purchase the benches and donate them to the Litchfield Recreation Committee to be used at their pond.
So it's not town funds.
Oh, it's Darapon.
It's private
At the
funds.
playground, like
Yeah.
their pond, yeah.
Okay, I thought, all right, so I was sort of confused. So I thought you were talking about the river access. Those was paid for.
Those have been procured, and Kurt is holding that.
Okay, so this is for at Dara. Okay,
And I've already let Mr. Matt know about it. I sent him a separate email, Mr. Sullivan, to update the notes accordingly.
okay. So do I hear a motion?
Yep, I'd like to motion to accept last week's meeting minutes
With the one.
with the one correction. Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any other changes anybody saw that we needed? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh. All opposed? I'll abstain. So it carries 4-0-2. All right. Public input. Anybody here from the public that would like to address the commission?
Sure, yeah. I wasn't sure if you were talking strictly about the minutes or what.
Nope, this is just,
Okay.
if you could let us know your name and your address.
Sure.
Good evening. My name is Curtis Sampson. I live at 12 Garden Drive in Litchfield. I'm the Cub Master for Pack 11 here in town. And I'm here to talk and ask for permission to use Talent Hall overnight for the Cub Scouts to do an overnight camp out. I know that this hasn't been approached before, but it's something that I used to do as a kid. And I know that a lot of parents, a lot of the kids are kind of excited about doing something like this. It gives parents the ability to do something that's affordable, and it gives the scouts the ability to do an overnight and try and prep them for summer camp, where we tend to find a lot of homesickness. So parents can be close by if there's an issue, if they need to come, pick up their child or whatnot. So it's a nice way for the kids to learn how to do camping and do some of the skills of scouting without being too far away from home, which is beneficial to the program altogether. Something we'd like to potentially advance it into is that our council does a Friends of Scouting events during the spring, where they try and promote more children to join the program, and they'll bring some events for kids to do, such as bow and arrows and stuff like that, and they can set that up, and they bring the certified staffing members that have been trained and certified by the national organization to run those events. And our goal long term would be able to make it a big event for the town, where they could come and do some fun events like that, and then the scouts later would do the overnight camp out. So I guess right now what we're looking to get permission for is, one, if we can do the overnight in Talent Hall in April, and two, what I was going through the guidelines here, and I didn't see anything I saw something on glass and no fires, but I didn't see anything on potentially doing like bow and arrows through the program. It's all through the Scout program, licensed and insured through the Scout program. So if that's something we would like to approach, if that's something that's an option, we would like to approach that. If not, we definitely still want to do the overnight. And then the last question, and I think I have the answer, but as a scouting program, we like to teach, rope tying and different skills, outdoor adventures and stuff like that. But one of the other skills is cooking and over campfires and stuff like that. Now I see in the rules, there's no fires allowed on town property, but I know that we've used that property with the fire department to have things like during the winter and whatnot. So if we were to approach the proper organizations, would that be something that we could possibly do if we did it organized and with the right people involved? So I guess the biggest question is, can we do an overnight? And then if we can do an overnight, what are our limitations?
So this is,
sorry.
go ahead.
For the bows and arrows, are you talking about
shooting inside or outside?
It'd be outdoors.
Okay.
Yep. Nope. So the scouts, they have a trailer that they bring. They do bows and arrows. They do BB guns, and it's all the stuff that the boys would and the scouts would do at the scout camp. Small pump action BB guns, and then light range bow and arrows, not compound bows, just the regular straight bows. And so it's all the stuff that they do at the camp. And so the council has a trailer. They would bring that with the staff, and they would set up the areas. They would make sure that they have zoned off areas to make sure it's all protected and everything. And that's something that they do. And they do this to promote the scouting program. So they try and invite other families from the town to come over and do these activities so their kids can see what goes on with camping and to try and get, the families included. So long term, we'd love to make it where it's like a day event in town where people can come and have a day event and do stuff like that and promote the scouting. Short term, obviously, we've only got about a month and a half to really plan for it. We're looking at least getting the overnight and then, if possible, more.
So is this event, the overnight, the bow and arrow, the fire, is this all one?
All one
day?
night. Yep. So it would start on Saturday. We would probably do it around 2 p.m.
And what's the date?
April 18th is what we were looking at because it's kind of between all of the sports. I think it's April vacation, so there's not a lot going on at the field at that time.
I think that's the week before April vacation, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
The weekend?
It's the week after. It's the week before.
Is it the week
Vacation.
before vacation or is it the
I think
weekend?
the 25th is the first.
Okay, it might be.
Yeah.
And we've got some of the parents on the scouting program that are part of a lot of the other programs in town. So we were trying to make it so that there wasn't going to be baseball on the field and there wasn't going to be events going on there, so we wouldn't have to fight for the availability of the field. And
So 2 p.m. on the 18th
2 p.m. on the 18th,
and going till,
probably 11 a.m. on Sunday, the
Sunday morning.
19th.
and how many scouts do you see participate?
So we have about 50 scouts in our program right now. The younger scouts would have to be with a parent. It's a 1-on-1. It's a safety for the scouts. So it'd be a 1-on-1. So you're looking at, if all the scouts were to do it, somewhere around 50 something scouts. You're going to have probably 10 leaders, each leader for their den. And if parents wanted to stay, we were going to allow parents to stay just because of the fact that we're trying to promote the overnight camping and kind of acclimate the younger scouts into this type of experience.
Is it just going to be sleeping bags on the
Sleeping bags.
floor?
Yep.
No
Sleeping
tents
mats.
or-
No tents. Nope. Nothing with tents. So when I used to do it as a kid, you would stay up later than normal. And this is what we're promoting to the kids because it's kind of an exciting thing to them. And then around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we would do just kind of like a quiet down session, let them read some books. And then after that, it would be lights out. And, the leaders would be, sleeping in the same room. Everybody's in the big hall and everybody's in there. And leaders would be planted around the doors. So nobody's, sneaking out of the doors or anything like that. So, and generally when we do scout campouts, which, I've been a part of for a couple of years now, leaders will stay up and they'll monitor what's going on throughout the night and everything like that. But for the most part, when we do the camp, kids fall asleep, they fall asleep. And the next morning we just have a good time. So.
So one concern I see is LBA has a winter clinic on the 19th starting at 7 a.m.
It doesn't start. at
Is
7.
that indoor?
Start at 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't start at 7.
No, it starts at
Was that
9:15.
Steve? What's that?
And I'm sure with the amount of snow we have, I don't think there's anybody, there's not going to
Oh,
be
that's
anybody
okay.
indoors anymore. Unless we get a freak snowstorm, we're going to be out in the fields
Yeah.
pretty early.
So then the next thing will be at 12:30. By then, I'm sure you guys will be out of there. But
Yeah, and-
the hall is open from 2 p.m. Well, pickleball's at 2 p.m., but you'll be outside doing a lot of activity.
Most campouts kids are usually out earlier than that. I said 11 a.m. just so we could do some more stuff in the morning. But I mean, if we had to work around a 9 o'clock thing, we could say, hey, scouts are usually up at 6 o'clock. If you go to a normal scout campout, you're up at 6 o'clock, and by 7 o'clock, you're already out doing adventures. So if we were to roll like that, that's not a problem because it's essentially what we do at camp. So.
Nobody's hanging out, sleeping there.
Right.
9 a.m.
They're going to be up running around. Once the first kid gets up, starts making noise, everybody's up. So you don't have 50 kids with a
Sleepover.
stampede in a gymnasium not making noise,
Any other questions on this side?
No, I mean, we've discussed a little bit before. So Carrie approached me about this is just to see if it was an opportunity. And
Yep.
we were all comfortable with it. It hadn't been done before, but it sounds like it was something that, yes, we can do. So really it's just a matter of scheduling, I think, was the biggest concern we had.
Well, I mean, I would say I would like to check with town council and with Troy, just because the overnight and the liability issue,
Sure.
it's new a
I
new
fully understand. It's
thought
it's a
for us.
completely new thing for the town, so I get it.
Now, because I know we do the criminal background check, and I assume everybody that's
So the
involved
scouting
already
program
does.
has a requirement every year to do a background checks on all the leaders, and it also has us do we call it a youth protection program, and we train on that every year through the BSA.
But now the parents that are going to be there with parents that are going to be there with the children, will they have gone through a criminal background check?
I don't believe the additional parents there would have gone through a criminal background check because they're parents. They're not volunteers of the program. So they're not required. We don't require parents that bring their children to be part of the criminal
I mean, if they're
background check.
staying there overnight, I know, like if you have a parent that's chaperoning a trip to
Yep.
DC, they have to go through a criminal background check, even if they just.
I can look into that. Yeah, I
Okay.
can look into that.
And now, was there a form submitted earlier? Or is that you haven't? Okay.
No, this is what I have because I wasn't sure. And honestly, I just came here last minute because we weren't sure how long we had to. We weren't sure on the window of time you had to apply for the application first. So I grabbed one real
Well,
quick.
no, it's good that you've done it because especially if something new,
Yeah.
it's going to take a little investigating to make sure that we've sort of dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's. I guess, and the insurance would be through the Boy Scouts or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions?
Now, is the fire something that we could do with the fire department? Or
Fire
that
is something
ever-
that we would talk to the fire chief and find out what their, I mean, it's our regulation. It's not really theirs.
Right.
They would have, I know, for softball, we've allowed it. They've had to get a special permit from.
Right,
for the
same
day.
thing for Winterfest.
And we would do anything we would need to do for permits. I mean,
Yeah.
in scouting, this is what we do. We dig holes. We make sure that there's
Oh, you're not
nothing
taking
clear.
calls.
Well, I'm saying, what I'm saying is we clear areas so there's nothing that's going to burn, anything on the ground and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Where do you see yourself having the fire?
so, I mean, I've been to the talent hall and the pond a little bit, but I mean, in the area I would think would be more off of where the grass is, kind of where there's a more of like a down trees and stuff like that. You clear a little area right there and you would put it right there. I mean, if I have to bring in a large tractor steel well drum, wheel
That's how
wheel
we've
drum,
done
I
it.
could do that.
Is the drums.
Because it doesn't really matter to me if it's like on,
And
Earth or if it's
know
on-
At Pinkerton, we have a bonfire every year and they do it on the infield, on the dirt. And then which is, harmless there too. So,
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of, but again, that would be something that would probably talk to the fire department. 'Cause I
Yep.
know they'd be a little antsy because there's a lot of dead wood in those.
Agreed.
It's all pine needles.
I mean, at the end of the day, we could honestly do it in the parking lot if we needed to, where there's
Yeah.
nothing. It won't matter to us. It just gives us the ability to teach kids how to build campfires, how to use campfires, maybe to cook with the campfire, doing foil packs and
Or
stuff
even
like
if
that.
we shut the gate on that access road in front of town.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
So I mean, we're willing to whatever you tell us the guidelines, we're willing to adhere to them. So
All right. So I think it'll just take a little follow-up on our end to talk
Sure.
to the town administrator, talk to fire chief. I don't know if they'll want us to contact either the town council or our insurance agent, insurance company, just to sort of run up all the flagpoles, make sure anybody that has any potential issues to it lets us know so we sort of get out in front of it.
okay,
I would say at this point, we can sort of pencil in the time. There's no commitment to saying you can have it.
Understood.
But at least we sort of know if somebody comes up and says, hey, we want this date. And if you can just double check and make sure it's the 18th or the 25th.
it's definitely. I know our date is definitely the 18th. I just
Okay.
wasn't sure on the vacation, but we have definitely set our goals on the 18th.
So, I mean, if you have the.
Block it off,
I would block that.
18th, 2 PM until the following morning, 11 AM.
Yeah. And that way we sort of have it set
Yep.
so that nothing else can get in there.
The
What we can do.
pickleball's in there now at 2 p.m., but you won't be in the hall at 2
Right.
p.m.
But we can contact.
No, we can do
Pickleball.
outdoor stuff. I mean, even if I had to do 4:00, it doesn't matter because if we have permission to do the bow and arrow type of events, we'll keep the kids outdoors.
Yeah. So,
That won't matter.
yeah. So, and do you have all those events that you're looking to do listed on the form? So I can.
I did not put that on because honestly, I wasn't going to put it on here if it wasn't even an option. So
Well, I mean, why not? We'll look and see what our possible options are, what
Mhm.
the possible ramifications are. And, ask for everything and take what we got.
okay,
precedence has been set that years ago, summer camp was done by, it was a rec commissioner, one person. That was hired by the town, or given permission by the town. Girls Inc. ran a summer camp. Dara, and they had a sleepover, invited Hudson Rec to sleep over, camped out, all in the field. This is pre sprinklers. This is there was one softball field there at the time, pre-sprinklers. Nobody went into the building. It was all camping out, all in the grass at Dara overnight. I don't know if they did fire or not. It's been done before. They'd hire a nurse. They didn't think I'd have a nurse on staff, and that's it. I want to look. I think the selectman at the time, the only one I think was Tom,
Levesque,
the barber, Tom.
Tom Levesque.
Levesque was a selectman, and you might want to check with Chris Lascelles just to see. I don't even think town council's going to remember that. It's that long ago.
Right.
So it's been done.
Mhm.
It's just.
But I mean, now the state laws are so different now that I think,
Like there was no sprinklers back then. So it was like, it wasn't a big deal. People put tents up and it's one,
Yeah.
It's happened before.
thank you. Any other questions, thoughts?
I think it's a good idea. I like it. Fully support it.
So a couple things I took away, just confirm the insurance for us, and then I'll confirm the parents with criminal background checks.
Um,
Do we,
The Boy Scout, the scouting program might already have that requirement. I just don't know off the top of my head, so I don't want to give you bad information. But I know we have a lot of rules and restrictions in parents and children levels. So I mean, we don't allow, you can't allow one adult with one child at any given time. We have a lot of fail safes in regards to that. I just don't know on the background checks on parents staying, because we've done events down in down in the south on the ships. Staying on the ships overnight. And I don't recall having to get background checks for parents on the ship with us during those programs. So,
I mean, we require it for like skills camps,
Mhm.
different things. And this might, because where it's an overnight,
Yep.
That might fall into that premise where we basically any adult over the age of 18 that has contact with a child needs to have a criminal background
Okay.
check done. But we'll check and see if that's the case.
Okay.
Um,
great.
Anything else? All right. Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Leave this with.
so we'll get back to them?
Thanks, man. I left my information.
Yes.
So, thank you very much.
So sort of
Thank you.
divvy up. I'll make the contacts and I'll sort of get back to everybody and
Okay.
I'll just CC everybody on the emails. So everybody's in the loop.
Curtis? Okay, just wanna put it-
All right. Any other public input?
Thank you.
All right. So we're now closing public input. Facility and field requests.
I just saw the one about using the soccer field parking lot again, but
Right, for the run.
yeah, we've already kind of gone over that.
Right. And I think that's just coordinating that with soccer, making sure there's enough room. in it.
Mike had a meeting with them last weekend or
Okay.
something like that, and he was gonna
Yeah, the road race?
bring it up.
Is that the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about maybe moving soccer to the afternoon or something
Okay.
like that.
So then again, that's nothing we really need to vote on.
No, we
As long
can't.
as they
Yeah, it's
coordinate.
nothing we'd have.
Because we can't control the parking lot.
Right.
It's not a field.
All right. There were no other requests.
I have one. So first, an update on the Easter event that the Christmas and Litchfield Committee is putting together. We already approved the date of April 4th. We need to get a more specific time, which they got back to me. It's going to be 10:30 to 12:30. So if we can add that to the calendar, that would be good. They also had the rain date of the 5th, so we can block on the same time on the 5th of April.
And will they need access in the hall or just?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but they already have a code, so they're good there.
Right. But I mean, just is pickleball's not in there at that time, right? Because they're in it too
Nope, it was just baseball and softball
on Sunday.
on
But again, they
Sunday.
probably won't be in there anymore.
Baseball sounded like it was clear. Sandy Minard was
Yeah, I had cleared that with baseball. They were good.
so I'm sorry, Pete, you said
On
April
the chair
4th, Saturday?
April 4th at 10:30 to 12:30.
10:30.
All right. And no other requests?
One more from them. So they want to do a fundraiser for Christmas in Litchfield. Also in April, on April 15th, they want to do a paint night. I believe that's Wednesday, the 15th. So there is currently something on the calendar. But we'll be able to coordinate it off.
Is basketball still on there?
So yeah,
right, I gotta-
what's his, this was the 4th,
April 15th?
15th, yeah, it's still on there, yeah.
Okay, I'll update that because they're done.
They're all done?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So are those not conflicts then on the 15th?
Yeah. There's nothing there.
Okay.
They can do a paint. Is it going to be like a BYOB event or just?
I believe there is alcohol. Let me just bring it.
All right, so we just need to make sure we get the police detail.
Are there guidelines? I guess I probably should look at myself. Like, are there guidelines that we could put on the page that says if you're gonna have alcohol, you have to have an officer, no one under 21, you have to.
We did have a separate form, and I don't think it's either been misplaced or it disappeared. It might have been on a hard drive instead of on before we did the Google Drive. I'll look and see if we find it. But there used to be, and it was something that we had actually through Primex when Primex was our insurer.
Was that one, Pete?
The
15th, from what
Probably
time?
talk to our current insurance and find out what we need because they actually on that form they also had an option for purchasing.
5 to 10.
Like if a group wanted to
I'm
purchase
sorry,
a single
who was this
event
one for?
license or
Okay, yep.
insurance coverage for that.
Christmas in Litchfield.
Just
If it
a
was a
meeting?
private company or
It's a
private
fundraiser.
group.
fundraiser.
Painting.
I think it might be
Painting
helpful
event.
if we have it publicized with people.
Sorry, what?
to it.
Painting event.
Painting.
Help make a judgment if they're gonna have alcohol.
Right.
If you want to pay for an officer.
On a Wednesday night, huh?
Yeah, so it is BYOB. So they do not need an insurance writer because they're under us, but they do need police detail. Is that correct?
Correct. And I mean, the police department's been great about donating those, but we can't always count on that. So just, we need to realize that if there is a cost to that, it's around $450 for. So if, I would take a look at that. And if they're looking at fundraising and they're going to make around $600 and we have to pay out $450, it's
Yeah.
probably not a great idea to do a BYOB.
Yeah.
It would probably be better to leave it as just a paint night.
But the date is clear and we can,
Yep,
Getting
as long
to
as basketball's all done, which it is.
Okay.
And, well, it's on the agenda anyhow.
And while we're on, I would make sure we probably need to just set up the whole system for the purchases. Because I know there were a lot of back and forth and questions during the Christmas in Litchfield with all the invoices and how things were handled. So
Yeah.
we just got to make sure they know to ask in advance for a certain amount. And
Yep.
Okay.
Bless you.
That way we can authorize you to authorize payment for up to, if it's $400, $500. And that way they don't have to keep sending emails.
Yeah.
I know Karen's been very patient with us in the office, but she was.
Could I ask-
We were pushing her to the brink.
Yeah, no doubt. Could I ask for that maybe approval now? Because they do have a balance still in the revolving fund. So
I would-
that way I wouldn't have to wait till next committee meeting. I could just say, oh yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it's not gonna be huge expenses. So if you could approve me up to maybe $500.
All right, so make a motion.
Here. Is that in good order to approve myself to approve? Sure.
Well, yeah, you can make the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that I have authority to approve up to $500 for expenses for the paint night to approve leading up to the event.
And coming out of the,
Coming out of the revolving fund and the Christmas in Litchfield allocation line.
okay, we have a motion
I'll second.
and we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all I would say is just to make sure they understand what they're going to do is they're going to submit it to you. You're going to approve it and then you'll submit those to Karen for payment. So it shouldn't go directly to Karen. It should go through you.
Yeah.
Because you'll need to approve it. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried 600. All right,
Great. Thank you.
and that was it for. So we need to make a motion for the event though as well, right? Or did you guys do it in the last meeting?
I wasn't here for the last meeting.
Not for the paint night. We already approved the Easter event, not the paint night.
Right. I was there for the Easter event,
And that's April
15.
15th. I would probably wait until the next meeting for the approval of that. I think we should, again, pencil it in and just, I would sort of clarify the BYOB piece before we approve it. Instead of having to amend the motion.
Right. I think they want to know just so they can publicize and that type of thing. So I'd rather maybe approve and then with the condition of,
Right, but we don't know if they have to pay, if they have to pay for a detail.
Yep.
And they decide not to do I guess we could approve it for the BYOB as long as we have the detail, and then they can decide to pull that back.
yep.
I'm
Makes
with Pete,
sense.
yeah, just because it's
Yeah.
getting tight. So
Yeah. Okay.
we should just approve it. And
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll make a motion to approve the paint night for Christmas in Litchfield as a BYOB event with the condition that they get the police detail secured and follow the protocols for fundraising for the Easter egg hunt.
A second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. So motion carries 6-0-0. Yeah, that way it makes sense, because then if they don't want to do the BYOB, they can pull it back.
Yeah, and they can still have the event.
Yes.
hopefully they can get it covered.
But if they do change it, I would suggest trying to bring it back in. Let's make a new motion just so it's clear, because we don't want all of a sudden have it coming back. But at least this way it's set. They can start advertising it.
Sure.
Any other requests that anybody received? All right, so we have new business, capital projects. So we got that email about the capital improvement plan.
Yep.
So has anybody come up with any?
Parking lot at Dara. That's my
Yeah.
request. That's, I mean, we've talked about this as a board a few times to have that parking lot addressed.
Yeah.
Over the years. So,
And depending on how the vote goes today, we need to either come up with some ideas on how to revitalize talent or
And then I know another one that we've discussed, but I think should be in part of our is lighting. One of the things that used to be in the capital improvement plan and was removed in the last one was lighting at Dara, lighting at Sawmill, just to maximize the amount of time that, this time of year, you lose sunlight pretty early. And so having lights gives us another 2 hours during the week and on weekends, so you're looking at another.
so you're talking field lighting.
Yeah, they're talking another 14 hours of usage by adding lighting to the current fields. So it's something that we could look at. I know there might be something in Sawmill where I think we wrote it in the approval that we would never light that field, if I remember
oh,
correctly.
really?
I was kind of wondering about that. What about like ordinances as
Yeah.
far as
Well, I don't think it wouldn't be an ordinance, but it would be in whatever agreement we made when we got the, we had met with the abutters
Right.
and agreed to certain conditions in putting the fields down there. And if lighting was one of them, we would obviously abide by that. There wasn't Dara has been approved, or it was actually put in the plans at one point. I think everything else is more, I can't think of another field.
Jeff Lane? I mean, that's in residential though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to light that.
Yeah, that's, so, I mean, but again, we can sort of look at those and I'll talk to Troy about. adding
Both would
those.
be over $70,000. So I don't think I have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So, I like the lighting idea. Do you know, are you sure that Dara, it's written in the,
Darren, we're
agreement?
allowed to, yes.
Oh, we're allowed to at Dara.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I
It's
missed.
Sawmill, I believe we can.
Really? Down that low?
Yeah,
I'm surprised we voted in that we can't do lighting.
It's got housing on both sides, though, doesn't it?
What's that?
yeah.
It's got housing on both sides.
I know, but you're lower than
You're low, and
most
there's
of
a
the
true line in
houses.
between
I mean,
everybody, but
It's a good tree line, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and most of them are raised much higher.
And the town sheds on one side of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
For Derry, you talking about the whole field or just a couple of
The
them?
whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that way in the fall, if this, because they really start those soccer games pretty early, they'd be able to have soccer games later. The high school could use it for evening games if they wanted to, because it would be lit at night and they could have a later night. And they wouldn't have to bring, I mean, I know they probably want to do it on their own field, but they wouldn't have to bring all the lighting in.
So this does need to be completed before the 30th or the 31st of March. So I know we have one more meeting before, so do we want to hold off on completing it until our next meeting, or do we want to?
Well, I would say, I mean, if we, because the problem is there's a lot of input that we need for each item that we're putting on that list.
Mhm.
I would say if you find something that you feel we need, I would put it on the list. It doesn't have to be voted on by us until later, but at least have it ready to go, and then we can vote on it and approve it as recommending it for the capital improvement plan.
Mhm.
I'd like to see better bleachers at some of these fields, places for people to sit and watch the games.
We've been getting away from bleachers.
Have you?
Yeah, because people bring their chairs. Even when there are bleachers, people don't sit in them. People sit in their chairs. They're much more comfortable. And they kill the grass.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, bleachers at the high school. That's what
Yeah,
the
they do. Yeah,
bleachers,
they want bleachers at the high school big time.
Yeah. All right.
Capital improvement, is there a minimum that it needs to, like, I know we're gonna talk about.
50,000.
50,000.
That was 70. 50? Okay.
Six years, 50,000.
Doesn't think like milfoil treatment, and, taking care of the waterways and stuff like that. Would that fall under that, or is this more like structural?
This would be something that there's a tangible, I believe there's a tangible piece that we're getting for it. It can't be a service or anything of that nature. All right, playground repair. We got the email about some items at the playground.
Yeah, so I was just, I saw your response back to, I'm sorry, I forget her name. But that we needed to see if it was in our budget. It was an $800 cost. And I guess I'm just curious. I thought we had repairs in our budget from year to year.
We do. It's not specifically for the playground, but we do have, and again, the budget's being voted on tonight.
Right.
But we do have, I think it's $2,000 for repairs for fields and things. I would hazard, personally, before we do anything, the opening of the fields is always one of those, you cross your fingers. It's kind of like when you have an old car and you're going to get it inspected every year. You're waiting for that. Hey, it's great. Here's your inspection sticker, but you're going to have to put $1,500 in the car to get it going. This is when we always find out about a pump or something going, and all of a sudden, boom, there's $2,000. And I don't remember on the email specifically what were the items.
It was, I think, the thing that I forget what it's
Was
called,
it
the glider.
bearings for the
The
glider?
glider, yeah.
Right. So it's,
The bearings are done, the shot.
so personally, the way I sort of look at them from almost like a business standpoint is safety is a no-brainer. If it's a safety issue, fix it. If it's, hey, the equipment's not really working properly, okay, it needs to be fixed, but is it critical? If we have to sit there and say, well, kids can't grab this thing and move, or we don't have a pump at Jeff Lane, and so, or at Corning, and now those fields are going to dry up and die. Where do we want our money going to?
Right.
If it was there,
Maybe it's something we look at the end of the year and see how much we'd spend on other repairs.
right?
Well, if the budget does pass and the field's open and there's no huge expense, I mean, should we just move forward and repair the equipment? I mean, my take is that it's equipment that we are responsible for. So I think it looks, yes, if we have a broken pump, we need to repair that, but I think this is also, it's equipment.
Right, but I mean, there's equipment and there's equipment that's a safety issue and there's equipment that, the seat's worn down or it's not.
Well, I'm not talking one down. This is broken. So I would think it would need to be
Right, but
repaired.
it's probably, my guess is it's been broken for years.
No, I think they've been pretty on top of this playground, Rachel. And I think she's aware of what's broken. And
Yeah, that broke
Oh.
like last fall.
Okay.
The railing broke last fall. I fixed that. That was a.
and they want a nice looking playground. And I think we've been trying to get there. And I'm not saying that I mean, of course, I want the budget to pass. I want to fix big expenses that come in. But I also think if we want to make a nice looking, they've added new equipment. It's getting there. I think the mulch was ordered and it was that ever laid down, the mulch?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So it's just another piece that I think,
All I'm saying is I think we need to sit back and look at it. I mean,
Priority list, it's really on the priority
right.
list.
I mean, we're putting, it's great that playground is getting the attention it needs. But again, we're focusing a ton of our effort and a ton of our money on one singular part of the property that we have. We've got things going on all over.
oh, I agree.
And we
And
just
so
need to
maybe
make
we,
sure we prioritize. And again, if it was broken last fall, it would have been nice to know that going into, we could have put that into our budget.
Mhm.
So what has been approved? The pole to support the slide, I think it was, that's been approved, right?
Yep.
Have you looked at the glider? Is it something that we could?
I don't. I have looked at it. I don't know how hard it'll be to pull it apart. I'll go down and tinker with it and see if we can pull it apart. Though, I have no problem doing that.
To me, it seems very expensive.
It seems ridiculous to me for a couple bearings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Put
something
a
I can get a
skateboard
couple.
up there.
Yeah,
Skateboard wheels.
I can get a couple bearings and probably fix it myself. But
good, so we can fix it even better.
Right.
But yeah, it's our equipment. So I think we need to
Oh, yeah.
address it.
Yeah, I think doing it before the summer would be good. I don't know that it needs to be before the field's open, but that area gets a ton of use. So I agree
does.
that it's
And
not
then we're
something.
going to add benches to it, and it's going to get even more use, and it'll bring more people in.
Right. And I mean, also we look at it, I'm always a pragmatist with it, is look at it and if it really is 800, we might want to look at it and say, is it worth spending 800 on this or get rid of it and put a better piece of, a more useful piece of equipment in its place?
Yep.
That's very true, especially for that piece of equipment.
Right. I mean, I don't know. My kids didn't really enjoy it all that much. I don't see a lot of kids on
The
it.
kids are
but-
too tall. They're skinny knees.
That's why I dig the trench. That's why we got rid of
Kids
all that
broke.
mulch.
Your kids probably broke the bearings.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Okay, talent floor cleaning. Was anybody able to get a hold of? I thought somebody was gonna or had contact with.
I had seen. Was it Landry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had seen him. I haven't seen him though. I was gonna bring it up if I saw him. I haven't
Okay.
seen him.
So if we can get, because we do have that money sitting,
Okay.
$4,000 at this point from pickleball
Okay. Let me.
that we would really want to use for that floor.
Okay.
Now, did you see the email that came in
Yeah.
about Matt? And that was what, $10,000? I don't remember what the price was.
$42,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
42,000.
42,
Never mind.
yeah.
Never mind. So
Yeah.
if it was 10, then we should probably.
And it
invest
only
in-
included the lines for pickleball.
Yeah,
Didn't
I-
have anything about basketball in there. It's like,
42,000.
yeah. I mean, that's when we, so I sit there and go, 42,000, that's,
That's
Substantial.
yeah. Because I don't know what the amount is, but I know when we were dealing with Kevin with something earlier, once you spend a certain amount of money on,
right.
you have to bring everything up to code. Now it's it's going to wind up, that 40,000 is going to wind up costing us 250 grand. And I mean, 40 even is just not something that we have.
Right. In the budget.
Talent spring calendar, I'll update, take the basketball off there.
So you have the requests, you have the time and everything that everyone's requested.
Nobody's really requested anything, and I don't think anybody is going to really request anything with.
Well, I know Craig from softball.
Oh, he did. He did
Okay,
one,
good. 'Cause he
yes.
reached out, he was the one that reached out to me about,
But I don't really see, this is not going to be a crazy request spring because the fields are going to
yeah, I
be
know, that's nice.
ready pretty quickly.
Yep.
Just going back to the wood floors, is that's something we already have approved? We have the money for. I just need to book it. Is that
Yes, so we know it's
get
going
a
to,
quote for it, or
we need a quote for it, but some of the lines are starting to get worn off, so I don't know if
Okay.
that's something he can do, but we want to basically do whatever we can to prolong the life of that floor as
Okay.
much as possible with the $4,000 that we have.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, just buffing it down. And if they can't do the lines after they buff it down, I don't mind going in there and touching up the lines. Just, it won't be a perfect paint match, but at least they'll be there and then they can put their coats of urethane on. And
sure?
but it's something that we really should get done in the spring.
Yep.
Because once it gets hot and humid in there, they're not going to want to do it. So it'll be good to get done.
Okay, I'll make that call.
Tennis nets. Anybody feel like they're able to? Those things are a
I
pain.
was gonna reach out to the guy
My-
that took them down.
Only concern with that is that it's still only March.
All right.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put them out yet,
No, I mean,
but I think we need to have a plan to put them out.
Are they above the, are they in
They're
the office?
upstairs. They're on the other
Office
side.
side. I mean,
I don't mind trying to tackle it with somebody.
I can work with you.
I just don't have any clue on how they go in, but we'll
it's
figure
some
it
sort
out.
of crank. You need a special tool.
Yeah, I think it's just a ratchet, but I've forgotten the size. I didn't have the size with me when I went to take
Yeah,
it down. at one
I'll,
point.
I have a whole set.
Yeah, I got plenty of ratchets.
Yeah.
I'm sure between the two of us.
Yeah, but it was a weird. It's like I don't know why it just was weird. I thought I had every measurement covered, but all right. So that'd be great, and I think we really should probably. I mean, I don't know what other towns do, but I've always felt like April 1st is usually a good date for stuff like that. I mean, if we said April 1st and October 1st or November 1st, they come down, and just sort of that way we can sort of plan accordingly. And just put it, actually, we can even put it on the town hall
Yeah.
calendar, even though it's not a town hall thing.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, take tennis nets down, put tennis nets up, take them down, put them up.
You want to do April 1st?
Yeah,
I like that. And then November 1st?
yeah, I think that
And
would
this
work.
is just a sawmill, right?
Yes.
It's only tennis courts in town.
All right.
We're gonna be
And
busy.
And also, should we revisit cleaning up the kitchen at Town Hall and getting rid of the stove and the
Yeah, we need to-
refrigerator?
we need
Needs
to
to
pull
happen
that out.
too.
I mean, what my thought, and I was going to try and get a hold of Bill Larnigan over at Campbell High School. But at Pinkerton, we have, it's a day of giving. So students sign up for it, and there's about 70 kids, and they make arrangements with all the different organizations in the surrounding area and say, what do you need? And so, you know, retirement homes, other places come out and say, okay, well, we need this, this, and this done. And so the kids will sign up and say, I'll do that. I'll, you know, Meals on Wheels, this, you know, but above and beyond, not what they normally do every day, but hey, we need this area cleaned up, or we need this done, or this painted, or this done. And the only requirement for the organization is they give them a t-shirt, or they pay $10, which they get a t-shirt for, and they give them lunch. My thought is if we could, I don't know if you have any contacts at Campbell, because I'd love to do something like that with the students at Campbell High School. I know that they have their senior project and their sophomore project, but this would be more of a one-day event, and basically come up with a list of the tennis courts, or one I'm thinking of is because you have all the crud that collects around by the fence, and do that cleanup. I mean, the organizations do a really good job. Softball cleaning up the softball fields, baseball cleaning up the baseball fields, soccer taking care of the soccer fields. But it's the peripheral areas around Talon Hall, the parking lots, the different things that we could really utilize. You know, a volunteer day.
There's definitely clubs there, like the Key Club, that need volunteer hours. So if we make a list of what we'd like done, I could certainly bring it to,
Yeah, because it would be great if we can get something like that done before April 1st. Because you don't want to put the nets up and then
Yep.
have all this crud all over the place. Hey, courts are clean, nets are up. And, we could do a little, I would be for creating T-shirts for it, giving it to the kids and, it's actually the Youth Day of Giving. That's what it's called.
Youth Day of Giving. Okay.
And it's really a neat program and the kids enjoy it. The community likes it and the kids get out in the community and they sort of,
So you're talking tennis courts, that area,
around talent.
around
Around
town.
the basketball court, the new basketball courts, that area, the beach, sort of cleaning up that beach area. That would be huge.
Okay.
And then what the organizations have found and the town of Derry found is the vandalism at those places went down.
That's what I said. The kids now have a vested interest, and there's
Right.
going to be less. They're going to be picking up the trash at the basketball court, opposed to leaving it because they put some time and energy into
And they don't realize it. They leave the bottle there and they don't think anything of it. All of a sudden they go in there like, there's like 750 old water bottles here or whatever. And I think it sort of opens their eyes to that. So,
No, I think that's a great idea.
Do the T-shirts have to say like Day of Giving, or could we create some Litchfield Rec T-shirts? And,
yeah, I mean, whatever we want. I think it would sort of be a fun thing to do. And,
yeah, I agree.
might even be able to get the beautification fund thing to sort of help promote it.
Mhm.
Not even the money. We can have the money in our budget for it. But just to sort of get the word out and get people involved.
The town's beautification fund has not been touched, and there's still 2,500 sitting there, and that would align perfectly with it.
But I mean, we could also look at things if there's paint and stuff that we
Yep.
need for these things, and maybe we'll use that to purchase. And it could be for other things. Maybe the library
We
needs
talked
something.
about benches at the basketball court with the extra wood that keeps becoming bike ramps.
Well, we have benches at the basketball courts.
Yeah, there were a couple of.
Oh, that was going to be.
That was going to be railing
Fence.
across the way. So we could do the railing across the way. I mean, that would be,
Yeah.
keep cars off of that. If we're going to put all the money into the playground, keep cars out of that playground area.
Yes.
And I drove by
Yes.
after voting.
That's always a problem.
Yeah.
I have to tell Craig to send out the reminder again.
Yeah. And I think if you guys, we need to come up with something for that gate.
Yes.
We need to either one,
I don't understand who keeps leaving it open.
right.
It just.
But it could be the guy picking up the trash. It could be,
The porta potty.
yeah.
Right.
And then what happens too, in their defense, is the guy goes in to pick up the porta
He
potty.
just pulls out. And,
Well, he opens it up and goes in, and then a car pulls in behind him, so he can't lock it behind him because now that car's going to get locked in.
Yeah.
And we all know when we ask people to leave how pleasant they are. So
And we lock them in.
yeah, but I mean, if we get that railing going all the way down, and then we put a gate right there where the turn is around Talent, we could leave the gate open and not worry
Yeah.
about it
I
anymore.
don't think the gate's that big a deal. I don't think it's a huge deal if people go down there.
Right, but what's happening is once they get down there, they have access to get onto the fields,
Right.
and we need to stop.
And then there's also you have cars combining with kids going back and forth. And
Right.
Yeah.
So. All right.
we talked about possibly moving the pole also, because right now one of the problems is you really can't lock it. You have to, wrapping it around a
Yeah.
pole and the fence, and so we should look into actually installing. a
Right,
metal
but it was still
pole.
going to have the issue of it being left
Yeah,
unlocked.
but I think it would reduce it some if it's easy to close.
All right. So, and do we have any? So on the old business, any action items from the 225 meeting? I don't-
Did the Christmas update. We're going to contact Steve Weber about joining the Darapon subcommittee.
Yeah, I've been
What's
in contact with Steve. That was so basically they are investigating the milfoil
Oh,
issue
Okay.
in further depth, and he said he's going to reach out to us once they form that committee because they pulled it back out of our budget,
Right. They took it off the warrant article.
took it off the warrant.
Yeah.
And I think his philosophy was, let's decide on what we want to do with it and then attack it at that point.
Right.
Yeah,
The
he
one
wanted to-
concern I had is if it get approved one year and not another,
Yeah,
They're
you're just
so
wasting
good.
the money
Right. It's got to be done for 3 years consecutively in order for it to be.
and maintained after that, I think.
No, it should be good. If it's done for the 3 years, it's a done deal.
See, Steve, we're gonna post photos of the awesome eels on the commission website.
I have photos. I haven't received the data back yet. The eels are much bigger than I anticipated.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're probably 5 feet long.
What?
Get out of here.
I showed a friend of mine, a female, and she's like, I'm never going in that water again. I was thinking they're going to be tiny little eels. No,
Yeah.
these were
Wow.
big fish. And I've been waiting for he said they have a lot of data they were going to comb through and he's going to send it to me. So we'll put it on. I'll put the pictures up for now. Might scare some people.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Yeah.
All right. Mike was going to contact, well, it was about the road race and the parking lot. Andy was going to ask Buxton about the position on the rec commission. Did you hear back from Keith and all?
Yeah, I saw him at Cornhole. And he said he would like to remain on the board in some capacity, but he understands if there's a better suited person to take his spot as an active role. But he would like to stay on as an alternate. So when his schedule does free up, he's able to participate again. But he said,
Never want to say no to a volunteer, especially somebody that's done
Yeah.
as much as Keith and stuff.
I
yeah,
know.
and he said his schedule's just been crazy.
So how would we go about rotating that roll through? Because it's the nominations of the boards and the seats and all that is coming up.
Right. We would have to look and see when his is up, and we would have to make we have to get the board. We have to put something to the Board of Selectmen. So we'll probably do it I think we should just do it all in one cycle. When the people are up for renomination, we can also adjust. Now, remind me who's alternates?
I'm an alternate.
I am.
Okay, so we can rotate one of you guys in as a full-time member and Keith is an alternate, which would make sense. Although it really doesn't make a difference because without
No.
Keith here, I don't think we've ever had an alternate show up that couldn't vote because we didn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
But we can look into that sort of. And again, I got to contact Troy because I think he has the appointments. Whoever is
He must,
up
because,
is wrong.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah, mine's
Yeah.
up.
Yours is up.
see it.
Steve and I are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was.
That's all I
taking-
saw.
Right. And technically, the way it works is even though your term is up, you're still a member until somebody has replaced you on that. So basically, if we don't want to replace you, you can't leave.
Just roll.
That's how it works.
Like a challenge.
Yeah. We'll find you. All right. Any other items? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carries 600. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.